One of the other things that they start to discuss in some of the creative meetings with Bischoff is, as he lays out, he thinks WCW has three choices: be better than, be less than, or be different than what the WWF was offering. And he admits that as a startup show, he doesn't think they can be better than, and he doesn't want to be worse than. So he's going to choose to be different than. And he asks, how can we be different than that? We go live. So Bischoff wrote in his book that he always wanted to go live with the show, but was worried that some of the production team would be intimidated by that. So he felt he had to pick the right time to share that info with them. Do you remember folks being worried about the concept of going live every week?
Yeah, no question. No question. Because of the unpredictability of what you see on TV was mirrored by the unpredictability of what happened backstage.
Right.
And that unpredictability a lot of times would cause things to not go right. Now we're going to go live, and guess what? If you screw up, you got to keep going.
Right.
I know that was a concern. There was no question. And it would also mean, I guess, budgets would have to be thrown out, because it would be a lot more expensive, obviously, to go live every week. You're talking about traveling to an event, doing an event live, on top of what we were doing already. There was a concern, and it was heightened when we went to doing Thunder. There was a concern that we were understaffed.
Right.
And that concern, and I think we were, but I think eventually we got staff. We had plenty of staff members. But at the first, there was a concern that we had enough people in place to do that.
I learned in my research that WCW tinkered with the idea of doing the show live every week, every other week, or even just once a month before ultimately deciding it was a worthy investment to have the competitive advantage against the WWF of going live every single week. Yeah. I mean, that commitment to doing it every single week, which even at the time the WWF wasn't doing, is that probably the most daunting task WCW had undertaken with this management group?
To go live every week?
Yeah, 52 live shows.
No question. There's no question. You don't realize what going live takes out of you, and I'm talking about from a talent standpoint, but even a backstage standpoint. And
right.
How many people, just to coordinate the show, to make the show look correctly, to make the show look right, it is a daunting task. And I know Vince realizes that as well. Of course, he had been doing it. It was kind of like this. It was kind of like doing a pay-per-view every week.
Yeah. And that's eventually what it became, of course. And the decision, sure.
But production-wise, it was doing a freaking pay-per-view every week. I've said freaking twice and fuck once. As you can tell, I'm trying to cut down on my swearing, because I have to go to Mass and I have to go to confession on Saturday and say, "Bless me, Lord, for I have sinned. It has been a week since my last confession." I accuse myself of saying fuck too many times. So I'm just trying to cut down on the fuck.
I'll tell you, I think a pissed off Schiavone is what's best for business, for what it's worth.
You do?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
WCW decided what was best for business is to not only be live every week, but to do a replay after as well. Tony, explain to fans the reasoning behind having a replay air the same night. The WWF never did this, and I know many fans are curious as to why WCW may have felt they needed one.
I think it was a couple of things. I think TNT wanted the programming, and I also think it was something different. It was Eric trying to do something different than had been done. Eric had a lot of tremendous ideas. He really, really did. And as you can see, they kind of come through as we move on there. And I think the replay was a combination of, again, wanting programming, because, as you know, they replay things on ESPN all the time just because they need
content.
They need the programming. And Eric just coming up with something brand new.